There's a lot of people out there saying that 2026 is going to bring a recession or possibly even a Great Depression. I mean, that's crazy, right? It could happen. Anything can happen in the stock market. After all, the stock market's unpredictable. Economics, history has shown, pretty unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen. And trying to sit here and predict what's going to happen is a losing game. But in this video, I want to give you 5 undervalued stocks that would absolutely do just fine in a recession or a bear market. One, because they're really undervalued right now. And two, they wouldn't be affected by a recession. They wouldn't be affected by any of that. Without further ado, let's get into it. If you like these videos, guys, you appreciate this content, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. Hit that little notification bell so you never miss a video again. All right. Number one, looking at my high five snapshot. One sheet, all you need. A high five snapshot, this is something that I've personally created for myself and my community where I give you everything in one little brief little snapshot. So we'll go through this real quick. United Healthcare, if you didn't know who they were, they're the Goliath. They're the largest health insurance company in the world, providing medical benefits to millions of members. United Health segment, its Optum division offers healthcare services, pharmacy benefits, and data-driven health solutions. The company combines insurance scale with technology and care delivery, make it a dominant player in managed care. And just recently, actually, the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, bought into favorite type of business, insurance business, United Healthcare. Looking here, we see that in 2025, we're going to have 448 big old $1 billion in revenue, rising all the way to $594 billion in revenue through 2023, going from $22.14 in 2025 all the way to $45.63, over doubling their EPS in the next 5 years. And we can also see that the technicals, they're okay. But really, what make this company great is their big moat, their healthy balance sheet and healthy financial statements, their valuation right now, and their growth is subpar. That's a big old health insurance company, but it is supposed to continue to steadily climb as the years tick on. Based on a discounted cash flow model, the intrinsic value on this company is 40% right now. 40% margin of safety. Fair value is almost $500 per share. On an EPS fair value, just because of some lagging EPS they're going to have, some costs they're going to have coming up, you're getting a 10% margin of safety, $332 fair value. I do think you base this more so off the cash flow, as the free cash flow of this company is massive. We look over here at visual stocks. We can see the healthcare revenue is continuing to climb quarter over quarter and year over year. We can see just continuing higher and higher. The total Optum revenue is continuing to climb higher and higher. Individuals served is continuing to climb. Revenue is absolutely a hockey stick here. Massive growth since 2026. 71 billion all the way up to 442 billion. Net income, it's dipped the last year, 2024, coming back 2025. I think it'll continue to come back as we go on. Same thing with free cash flow, dipping a little bit, but I think we bounce back in a strong way and continue higher and higher and higher. But come on over here to our High Five Collective. This is a community that I run on WAP and Discord. If you want access, we have investing, we have trade alerts, we have Elliott waves, we have everything. Honestly, guys, we have everything. This is a really amazing community that we've built here. We got courses for you, investing 101, trading 101. We got it all. So if you're interested in finding a community for yourself where you have a proven trading strategy and investing strategy through our investing framework, our trading framework, come on over. We got indicators, we got bots, we got alerts, we got it all, guys. We have just absolutely been crushing on the trading side of things as well as the investment side of things. So don't miss out anymore, guys. Come on over. Link will be in my bio or in the pinned comment below. But we can see here, we put our levels here. We have our snapshots, the one that you just saw right here. We have about 50 plus different snapshots, and we're continuing to add more every single week. Right here in this little thread, we have multiple snapshots, guys. Continue to add those every single week of all of our favorite companies. And we have all of our levels. What our levels are is to tell us where we should be buying, where we should be selling. UNH. So $234 to $299 per share is our dip buy box, our dollar cost averaging box, or our phase two, where we're building out 40%, the rest of our 40% position through cash secured puts or just dollar cost averaging. It's going to be $300 to $499 per share. And our trimming level as of today is going to be $499 up to $749 per share. As we can see here, very simple, guys, with our levels. Our buy area, our phase one, This is where we are going to be buying out 60 and building out 60% of our total position. Dollar cost average zone is going to be where we build out the rest of our 40% position by using cash secured puts, or you can just continue to dollar cost average. And then our L resistance or trim area, that's phase three. That's where we're going to be taking profits up to 50% of our position. And we only exit fully a position if the fundamentals change. Very simple investing framework. And this is what you get, and this is what we teach in the High Five Collective. So, again, we are right now in the dollar cost average zone. We already built out 60% of our position, as you see here in the buy area. And now we have continuously climbed out of that. And I think we're going to continue to climb higher from here. This is a moat company, absolutely massive. Number two, stocks to save your butt in the recession. Walmart. Yes, Walmart. Why Walmart, Ronnie? Well, when times get tough, Walmart is cheap and reliable, and people still need groceries during a recession or during a Great Depression or whatever. People still need groceries. People still need to eat. People still need to shop for cheap clothes, cheap schoolwear, cheap groceries. You see where I'm getting at here, right? If a recession hits or a bear market hits and people are strapped for money, they're not going to Target. They're not going Whole Foods where things are 10 times more expensive. They're going to go to Walmart where they got rollback. Things are a lot cheaper. So that's the whole bull thesis on Walmart is during a recession, A-okay with me. That's all I really got to say about it. I think they're fundamentally undervalued. Are you getting the best deal here? No. But you got a company that's going to continue to grow 4 to 5% consistently over the next 5, 10, 15 years, honestly. Amazon's not going to knock them off their rocker. They're still a great company to own for the long term. Net sales revenue on Walmart, we can see it just continues to climb every quarter. We'll look at a yearly, continues to climb every revenue, continues to climb every year. Net income had a dip in 2019, COVID stuff, right? 2020. And then we bounced back out of that 2025. If we zoom back out here to 2008, 2007, 2008, 2009, what happened? That was the housing market crash. Why did their revenues go up if they struggled during the recession? Because it's Walmart, because it's cheaper. That's where people go to get cheap groceries and products. That's pretty much it. That's my bull thesis. That is number two. Number three, Alibaba. And stick around to the end, guys. I think number five is going to shock you, and you're going to be like, what? Really? That stock? And the next one, actually, number four and five. I think they're going to kind of shock you in my reasoning behind them. This is just a straight up undervalued stock. One. Two, if the US goes into recession, yes, China might get hit as well. I think China does fine as they're growing on their own internally. And Alibaba serves China. They're the Amazon of China. They're also into AI technology. They're one of the largest companies in China right now. Basically, just one of those things like if the US is in a recession or something, could have impacts across the world. But I think China is a good hedge against the US getting in some trouble. And Alibaba, company that's undervalued, not as undervalued as they were after last earnings. They had a big pop and move higher, but still $188 intrinsic value based on cash flow, still $150 fair value based on EPS, getting about 28% and 10% margin of safety. They're supposed to dip in 2026 on EPS and then quickly bounce back all the way up to $15.78 by 2030. $136 billion in revenue, climbing to almost $200 billion by 2030 in the next 5 years, and getting to about $35 billion in free cash flow in 2030. They're a moat in China, great balance sheet, great financial statements, great valuation, great technicals, and their growth is good growth, not crazy stellar growth. But same thing with like Amazon. Alibaba's number three, as we can see here, revenues continue to climb. We look on a yearly, continue to climb. Net income dip, but is bouncing back. Free cash flow dipped, but is bouncing back. Cloud intelligence revenue is exploding. International commerce is exploding. China commerce revenue has dipped a little bit, but they've had a rough couple of years. Bounces back in a big way. And that's really all I got to say about this one, guys. If we look over here at the levels for Alibaba, we have $71, $133 for our dip buy box. Currently, as the making of this video, still in there right now. Even after earnings, yeah, $135 per share. They're right on the line of buy area, phase one and phase two, the dollar cost average zone. They're right on the line there. Still a buy, still undervalued, guys. 71 to 133, 133 to 222 is your DCA zone, and then 222 and 332 as of right now. You know, it could always change up here with margin of risk just based on how they do with EPS, how they do with fundamentals, how they do with future earnings. But right now, 222 up to 332 is where we'll be trimming out 10% increments up to 50% and holding the rest long term. That is Alibaba. Number four, Netflix. Really, Ronnie? Netflix? Yeah, really, Ronnie. Netflix. Why Netflix? Let me talk to you. If there's a recession or a bear market and people have less money, it means they're staying home more. They're going out to eat less. They're doing activities less. They're going to Disney World less. They're doing, meaning they're at home more. And if they're at home more, that really means that I'm going to be watching a lot of Netflix. The number one streaming company in the world. That's not going to change anytime soon. We go into recession or bear market, Netflix subscriptions are going up. They're not going down. They're going up. And it's a safety stock because of that very reason. People aren't going to cancel their Netflix subscription. They'll find a way to pay 5, 10 bucks a month, guys. They'll find a way because what else are they going to do? Cable's more expensive, so they're not paying for that. They probably axe that. Let's be honest. Netflix, Amazon, Costco subscriptions, Wi-Fi, and all your other basic utilities, necessities to a lot of people nowadays. Not once. They're necessities. Netflix is on the list. I think it's a great stock to own through a recession or not. Is it crazy undervalued? No. I would honestly argue it's a little overvalued, but it's one of those companies that would be a really good hold through a recession because you don't have to worry about it plummeting down and down and down. We look over here on Seeking Alpha, we can see that they're expected to continue to grow EPS $77 per share. Revenue is supposed to continue in the getting down to the mid to high single digits to all the way out to the low teens. Visual stock shows total memberships continue to grow. That wouldn't change in a recession, in my opinion. Average revenue per member had a slight fall off, but has bounced back very well. And revenue, just crazy. This was a DVD company. Send a DVD to your house, and there you go. Turned into a Goliath. It happened that easily, guys. It is American dream, I guess. It's crazy. $1 billion in revenue in 2006, all the way up to $44 billion in revenue. Absolutely historical. Zero net income in 2006, all the way up to $12.3 billion in net income, barely any free cash flow, negative free cash flow, all the way up to $10 billion in free cash flow per year. Absolutely crazy, guys. That's Netflix. It's a great name. Number 5. This one's going to shock you. Oscar, my love, my number one gem, my stock that I believe is going to take me new heights in my investing career and journey. Why Oscar Health, Ronnie? Very simple. Just like UNH health insurance, it's not going anywhere during a recession. Really? Oscar Health specializes. They specialize in low income ACA subsidies, low income health insurance. That's why. A recession hits, a bear market hits, people have less money, they get put in a different tax bracket, they go down to that level, the level that Oscar thrives in. If their pool gets bigger in that area while they're continuing to grow in other areas in the health insurance industry, yeah, they're recession proof. They're going to do very, very well in a recession or a bear market or when people have less money. That's why Oscar's number 5, guys. And it's a great value. $42 intrinsic value based on discounted cash flow, 60% margin of safety. Haven't seen something like this in a very, very long time. $25 EPS fair value, 31% margin of safety. That is going to be based off the next few years, not 2025. As 2025, they're going to have a negative $1.38 year due to higher MLR ratios, but they're getting that under control, spiking the rates up for next year along other insurance companies, and they're going to do just fine. Valuation is massive, growth is massive, doing 32% this year, 32% revenue growth for 2025. Yeah, recession hits, that's going to be like 40 to 50% revenue growth rates. No joke. It's going to be crazy. Health, it's good health. It's not great health, like the balance sheet and everything like that, but it's definitely substantial and good. Technicals, it's a very volatile stock. Technicals with AI, they kind of have a moat, but they don't really have a moat compared to like UNH. UNH has a moat, name brand, all that. Oscar earnings estimates supposed to get the 97 cents in 2027, and they're saying 12.7 billion in 2027. Even though Mark Bertolini, the CEO, massive pedigree, he was the CEO of Aetna, the massive health insurance company before they got bought out by CVS. He also worked next to Ray Dalio with Bridgewater. Massive pedigree, amazing story. Amazing person. Him and his son have been through so much. He said in an interview just a few months ago that they're expecting $14 billion in revenue in 2027 and 3 to 5% margin, which puts the stock at 40 some dollars per share, right here where my intrinsic value is today. That's going to be based off EPS though. EPS, not free cash flow. If they're doing that on EPS, that means the free cash flow is going to be like 50, 60, $70 fair value. Oscar as well will do very, very well in a recession. Again, total members are growing, premiums growing, medical loss ratio goes up and down. It's high right now. It'll come back down. Revenue is absolutely exploding from 2 billion all the way up to 9 billion. And recently they're going to do 12 point some billion for 2025. So 12 billion in 4 years. Pretty phenomenal. Net income was positive last year. It's not going to be positive this year, sadly, but health insurance, it's a normal thing, especially for a company this small. It happens. And it's sector wide, not Oscar specific. Cash flow, absolutely massive last year. It is expected to be less great this year just because of losing of money, obviously. But they still did pretty well in Q2 right here. They lost 228 million in net income, but they made 500 million in free cash flow. So love to see that still on track to have a positive free cash flow year. We'll see the last 2 quarters of the year if they're able to free cash flow positive. We'll see. If not, this is really a 5 to 10 year stock that I'm holding. If we look here over at the levels, again, if you want all these different levels, if you want all these different snapshots, my investing framework or my trade alerts, my trades, my watch lists, all of it. If you want any of this, guys, all you gotta do, come over here to the High Five Collective, and you could be a part of one of many different tiers that we have: investing made simple, trading made simple, VIP trading membership, or you can go big dog and come right over into direct access, deep mentorship, one-on-one, fully with me, full attention to get you spun up to everything I know about investing and trading. Everything I know. I'm your personal mentor. That's why it's so expensive, because a lot of time and a lot of no one's sitting here saying. Going back to our levels, Oscar, we scroll back down here, $11.20 up to $30, almost $30. Yeah, I know it's a very widespread dip buy box. I get it, but it's also a very, very undervalued stock, especially based on free cash flow. Then about 30 to 42 is your DCA zone. And then your trim zone is until 42 to 63. But that's based off conservative assumptions. And because it's based off conservative assumptions means once we actually get moving on Oscar, we're going to be moving that trim area way up, because the more revenue growth we have, the better EPS is, the better free cash flow is. This trim area is going to get moved up because the margin of risk substantially gets moved up. You don't hit that margin of risk as fast. Okay. That's Oscar Health. That's the 5 guys. Again, if you missed it, you fell asleep during my video: United Health Group, Oscar, Netflix, Walmart, Alibaba. If you appreciated these videos, guys, smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already. You have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.